Right then, this is a video just to sort of like kind of like help you get around Copilot. It's fairly straightforward. The one we're using here is the iPad app version, and it's fairly intuitive in terms of how you get around it. There's not too much to go into that, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things whilst you're using it. So when you get logged in, or when you get onto it, you can see it asks you to use GPT-4. Log in with your Office 365. License gives you access. In terms of some of the other features available from kind of almost like an education point of view. And you can see here we've got some prompts, the text that we add into Copilot, which obviously go around, sort of like revolve around education. So I've got GPT-4, I've got access to that processing model. Top left-hand corner, it says it's protected. This is really important because this is kind of like offering you some kind of like reassurance in terms of the data or the prompts and the text that go into your kind of session with Copilot. So Microsoft, their kind of data policy say that nothing goes back into the training model, and anything that's put into Copilot isn't saved or kind of looked at anywhere. It's kind of like gone when that session ends. So you kind of like got that kind of almost reassurance about what you put into it. But as I said before, I would still err on the side of caution and not use any private or personal data within this. I'd anonymize it as best you can do, but it does have that kind of like protection around it, which probably some of the other models available out there don't have, like chatgpt and also sort of like Google Gemini. So I would say from the point of view in terms of like what's out there now, which you feel offers that kind of reassurance, and it's definitely Copilot. And you can see down the bottom there, you've got the ability to use the kind of like, your microphone. You can use the camera, which I have found a bit hit and miss at times in terms of taking images or even uploading images as well. So you've got the ability down here to do that in terms of maybe add visuals into your prompts. But I have found it a bit hit and miss at times in terms of using that. You can see at the bottom there, it says you've got a 4,000 character limit. The one thing that isn't shown by default, the 3 dots at the top right hand corner, you can do a new topic, which just starts a new session, and you've got your tones. So you've got more creative. I'd use that if I was going to be using image generation using DALL-E model. You got the 4,000 character limit there, so obviously you'd expect it to be more creative in terms of the response that it provides, more balance kind of like between the two. It says there everyday informed chats. That's got a character limit of 2,000, you can see. And the more precise one, which is more concise and for fact finding, so in terms of research and that kind of thing. So, it just depends on what you're trying to get out of it. But the creative and precise ones give you more options in terms of the character limits and so on. You can't export anything directly from the iPad version. There is the kind of like the Windows-based model where you can sort of export things. A lot of it is really just copying and pasting in terms of getting things out of it. So if I wanted to, create something in here, explain, metamorphosis. There we go. So, mate. In simple terms, I only put this is a very quick thing really, just to show you. So I've got my text base. You can see the characters there. Sort of like I've got 44 characters out of 4,000 limit. I can press the submit, and it should then start responding, as you can see there. So it starts creating the content based on my text prompts. There you can see 1 out of 30 responses. So I've got this kind of session underway, and I can sort of like go back to it and ask for it to sort of like, okay, what do you mean by this? Make sure it's UK spelling. And you've got the ability to go backwards and forwards during the course of a session to sort of like, hone the kind of like the output. As I said before, it's all about making sure that you understand and can check the output, because a lot of the time it's wrong. It's not correct. So you need your subject knowledge, absolutely crucial. And you can see it's got the citations there from where it's retrieved that information. So really, this video is just to sort of like just to make you kind of like quite clear in terms of how to use this version, which is the iPad application, as I say, you've got the ability to use a microphone, you've got the ability to use your camera as well. And it's really just playing around with it. You can see at the bottom there, your personal and company data are protected by that Microsoft kind of privacy policy. So just a very quick one for you there. And then please look at the other videos we've got in terms of using prompts to create, well, whatever you want really, because it's really about playing around with it, whether it could be like creating schemes of work, quizzes, lesson plans, a personalized learning approach. There's lots of things you can do. This data analysis, forms, feedback. It's really just playing around with it. Just think about the tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis. Think, right, how could I use Copilot to assist me in that process?